Hey everyone, just give me another half a minute or so here. It's not quite 10:30. Good day from Australia. Hey, people already typing in the live chat. All right. Hope you all can hear me all right. Had a little problem the other day. Hope I don't repeat the problem again today. All right, 10:30. All right, let's switch over here. Let's see how many people we got on here first. Oh, 12 people. That's all right. Small group. That's fine with me. Let's see here. Okay, so I should be in the viewer window now, or coming up to it. Yep, there I go. Okay. All right. Well, this is it. Hey, welcome, y'all. It's a second live stream of the weekend. You probably know I don't do a whole lot of live streams. Because time and really topics, I don't have a whole lot to talk about necessarily. I try to respond to all your questions as soon as I get them through email or Instagram, Facebook, comments and videos, right? So I'm not like some people who I've seen start but then stop this whole like weekly or monthly Q&A video they'll put out. They'll collect all the questions and then they'll answer them later. That's not my thing. I noticed a lot of those channels also stopped doing that too, probably for the same reasons why I never started doing them. But let's hang out today. It's the 5th of July, the day after Independence Day here in the U.S., and it's been kind of a quiet weekend for me. I haven't had a whole lot going on because of this whole China virus, the Kung flu, whatever we call it here. So not a lot places were closed, or if they were open, they require you to wear masks and do all this other nonsense and stand. Not my thing, man. Not my thing. I was just fine sitting here, hanging out around the house with the family yesterday. So, anyway, this is the second video because I did a poll late last week about which day this weekend would work for you, and I got like about an even split between Friday and today. So I did one Friday morning. And had a lot of comments from some of you saying, "Oh darn, I was not available" or whatever. And so here we are again, same kind of thing, just an open discussion, Q&A, sort of hanging out. I don't have anything written down to share with anyone. I'm here to answer questions, talk about whatever for maybe about an hour. It's probably my cap. I went for an hour and 10 minutes last time. But let's see here. So let's take a look here at what we got on the chat window. Yes, so we got people from Australia. It must be, what time is it up there in Australia right now? 9 p.m. in India? Oh, man. All right. That's not too bad for you, is it? Yeah. I was trying to get a morning time for these because I know almost half of my audience is international, not from the U.S., right? Or at least North America. Well, yeah, international, including Canada, I suppose, is not the U.S., so I guess that would be considered international as well. And so I didn't want to do one in the evening because they would be offline in bed, whatever. And also because it's so hot, it's going to be so hot today. I didn't want to be doing this in the afternoon out here in this hot garage when it's like at the peak of the day, humidity and heat and everything. Yeah, MJ, it is hot today, man. You betcha. 9:30 in New Mexico. All right, so we got a good. And from Sweden and from Wales. Oh my! See, here we go. That's why I'm doing it in my morning hours here. A lot of you felt that you were left out in past live streams when I was doing them in my evening time. So let's shake it up a little bit, right? Let's see. Question from Chris Bear Lake. What do you think about shutting down CraigTube? I've been trying to get caught up on that. I just watched his latest video on his new channel that he just renamed Craig Space Tube. It was called Craig Talks until like yesterday, I guess, where he was kind of commenting about that. After 14 years, the poor guy had his channel yanked, and I've had my channel for over 8 years now, and I've seen a lot of channels come and go and get banned, much like his did, just without warning, off for some imaginary violation of some policy, which they never explain to you, and it is quite frustrating. I feel for the guy. I mean, the dude spent 14 years since 2006 to build up his subscriber base and make all those videos. I know it's a lot of work to make these videos. So, I mean, it is more. I mean, if I had known in 2012 when I started doing this, how much it would consume in terms of my time and energy, 8 years later, I may have never done it, honestly. But I'm in it now, so I'm in it to win it, I guess. I want to stick around as long as I can, if they don't ban me as well, which is kind of odd. I mean, there has been some thoughts when they had the first YouTube ad apocalypse or the purge a couple years ago, because this crap has come in waves. And there's a current wave going on now. A lot of my favorite YouTubers have also been just yanked without any warning, and it really irks me. It really does, because they start with this whole premise of YouTube being an open platform, and because they declare themselves as an open platform, they are immune from a number of laws here in the U.S. and probably a number of other countries that makes them exempt from being sued for the content on them. Because they're not a publisher. If they were a publisher and they publish something that someone sued them for, they could be sued for libel or other things, right? And that's not what YouTube claims to be. And the same goes for all the other social media platforms too. But yet they have been playing shenanigans, as we find out more and more. They are picking winners and losers. They are choosing who to censor and not to censor, and it's not fairly applied. I don't know why he got banned. I think he mentioned something to do with possible copyright violations from some music. I guess he's either played in his videos in the past. I don't think I have that problem. All my videos have always been royalty free, intentionally, because of this kind of stuff. But I know he plays music and stuff, so maybe that was part of it. I don't know, honestly. But it is really irritating. You spend all that time putting all that stuff together, and you end up getting bonged like that, and the appeals process is a joke too, because there's no one that you can contact. They are intentionally hidden behind their so-called firewall. There, you have to submit or dispute it, and they have a final judgment that says yay, nay, and that's it. There's no arbitration. There's no nothing. I mean, it's really damn irritating, and spend all that time and effort to build up a YouTube following, especially if it's your business. If it's your business, if you quit your day job and went full-blown YouTube, I didn't do that. I had thought about it several years ago, and when I started seeing what happened to all these other people who were getting bonged and banned and all this stuff, I said, hell no, I'm not falling for this either, because they changed their terms of service in more ways than one. They changed them. They keep updating their community guidelines, but they're always very vague, and they just ban people for any arbitrary reason that someone in there decides they want to ban you, and that's really not cool. Not cool. There's no way to run a business. It's no way to draw new creators. A lot of them have already switched to other online video sites like Vimeo. I can't pronounce that, or BitChute and things like that. So yeah, it's real frustrating. But he's back, I guess, but he's got to rebuild that user base, right? Not everyone knows where he went. And he's got to create new videos or post old ones if he's got them on hand. But really, he's still starting over, man. That just sucks. And if it happens to me, I'm done too, man. I'm not starting over. I mean, if I get banned, I'm just going to walk away, honestly. It's not worth starting from scratch again, man. It just is not. So I'm glad he's back under a different channel name, but he's got a hill to climb. Let's see here. Yeah, French fan in the UK. Hey, welcome. Bonjour, I guess. That's the only French I know, other than escargot. Sorry. I'm playing, but I don't know a whole lot of French, honestly. I don't. I know more Italian, Spanish, of course, because there's a lot of Spanish around here. I know a bit of Italian because I grew up in an Italian-American neighborhood. You might have seen some of that stuff in like mobster movies and things, but that's when I was younger. Let's see. Hey, BrewQ. Hey, man, what's going on, buddy? Did a live stream yesterday, and it was a little fun. Discussed beer, barbecue, politics, and guns. It's been all typical of my channel. Pissed. Yeah, I was pissed too, man. This is like I was saying, it can happen to all of us. Um, let's see. What are my thoughts on diacetyl from Ryan? Do I try to combat it and just let it happen? If so, okay. So questions here. We struggle with diacetyl. Okay. Well, I have never really had a problem with it ever. In fact, the only time I actually really taste it is as if I go out and buy I don't even buy it. I get it handed to me at parties like a beers like Natural Light, if they even still sell it. That is like the epitome of what diacetyl is. If you don't know what diacetyl tastes like, go grab a can. Don't buy a whole case of Natural Light or something along that lines. Take a big swig, and you'll know right away what diacetyl tastes like. It's funny because they actually use that in movie theater popcorn flavoring. It's not real butter, right? The stuff they squirt all over your well, I haven't been to a movie theater in months because of this COVID order here in Illinois. We can't even go to the movies yet still. But anyway, that's what they use. It's like a buttery flavor. It's anyway. So my thoughts on it is that it sucks, obviously. And I think I've always avoided it because I followed some advice years ago about how to minimize it. Can't remember all the details, but off the cuff, I remember letting your fermentation go through a diacetyl rest period at the end of fermentation, right? So I keep, my kind of usual routine is that I'll ferment for 2 weeks and then keg. Well, why 2 weeks? The fermentation's done in just a few days sometimes, depending on how active my starter is. It's definitely done by like the 7th or 8th day. So why do I keep going for an extra 4 or 5 days? And that's because the diacetyl rest period. So if you keep that, so if you're using temperature control, you might want to raise it up, or if you have a warmer room, to let it sit at a slightly warmer temperature. Now, warmer means it's relative. So if you're doing lagers, you obviously want to bring it up to more like room temperatures. But since I always ferment in my basement at room temperature anyway, I just let it sit longer for the whole 2 weeks, and that I think lets the yeast reabsorb all that stuff that it's spewed out early in the fermentation. It kind of takes it all back in again, which is one reason why I'm also not a fan of what people still call secondary fermentation, right? I did a video, ran an article on that on my website, saying how that's not even a thing. That's one more reason why I don't do that, because you rack that beer when it's done fermenting into a new vessel. All that yeast stuff, most of the yeast is still left behind in the old vessel that could be used to help pull that diacetyl back out. So I just let my beers sit in the same fermenter for the entire time, and then rack them to a keg after that. And I have never experienced diacetyl, and if I did, it was when I was doing secondary racking, and that was many years ago. So I don't even remember anything about that. I got a new member here, Jacob's Secret. Welcome, buddy. I think it looks like you're the first person to join my so-called YouTube club. For those who don't know, for a while now, if you go to my main channel page, there is a join button there, I think, and I set that up a while back, and no one bid on it, so I kind of forgot about it. But it looks like Jacob found it and joined. So there's different tiers in there. I don't remember what they were. I have to actually go back now and double check. But there's different tiers of membership. Don't know what it involves anymore, since it's been so long since I set it up. But now I have to go back and check that out. But thanks for joining, Jacob. Let's see. Orange City, Florida. Welcome, Jerry. Around here, every citizens blew off their fireworks. Oh, yeah, man. I had that going around here last night, too. My wife and I closed up our windows because it was hot. We had the AC on, but we also wanted to watch a movie, and it was still loud, though. Don't get me wrong. I love fireworks, but I've gotten to the age where I could care less about them. I'd rather stay home and not get bit up by mosquitoes than go out in a crowd of hot, sweaty, stinky people in a field somewhere watching fireworks go off. Now, we didn't have that this year because of the COVID ban, as you know, because you're from downstate, right? But it was kind of weird. Like, this 4th of July weekend was just like any other Saturday in this COVID nonsense. It was just kind of depressing, actually. Let's see. Somebody says, please use Kvik yeast in one of the new brews. We're here at Yeah, that's something that's on my to brew list. Right, I haven't used Kvik yeast yet because never felt a need to. Again, I ferment my ales in my basement. It's in the 60 to 70 degree Fahrenheit range, which I can't do the conversion in my head to Celsius right now, but that's sort of cool. It's right in the range of just about every ale that I've ever made. The lagers I brew, I've been brewing under pressure at that same room temperature, right? And never felt the need to do Kvik. Now, I've had Kvik brewed beers. If you recall, the video I did a few months ago, I did a trip to the Chesterton Brewery in Chesterton, Indiana. And turns out, except for the batch of beer of mine that we brewed there, if you remember, I had my Larry Garden beer, and they wanted to brew a big batch and sell it in their bar. So it was kind of like a thing that we did, and it was fun. But they used a wit beer yeast for that. But otherwise, for their non-wit beer beers, for just about every other strain, they use Kvik. In fact, they even showed me the inside of their fridge where they store all the mason jars full of all the different yeast that they've been harvesting and holding on to for their next batches, and it's all Kvik. They just apparently they warm ferment everything around 80 degrees or room temperature for the bar. It's mid 70s maybe, and they just ferment it all out, and it's a speed fermentation too. In fact, they claim they went from brew day to keg in like a week or something like that. It's amazing because they're under pressure to get the beer out on the taps, and they're trying to keep up with the demand. I think it's a little soon to put beer on tap, but if it still sells, it still sells, right? Let's see, what would you use for Hawaiian ribs from Will? Let's see, Hawaiian ribs are, I think you probably mean some kind of a pineapple sweet glaze or something, like a pineapple glaze. I've made those in the past. I love them. Those are great ribs. In fact, I've done the kind of them with like a pineapple glaze made with jalapenos and cilantro. I don't even know. I haven't done that in a long while. But what kind of wood? For ribs in general, I like to use hickory wood. But if you don't want as much of that smoke flavor because you want more of that sweet sauce for the Hawaiian ribs to come out, I would suggest maybe using apple wood or some kind of a fruit wood. It's a lot lighter smoke, especially for ribs, which aren't even that thick, right? So some kind of fruit wood, like apple, would be my go-to probably for that. CraigTube is back. Yep, I mentioned that when I first opened, Robert. I saw his video earlier this morning where he talked about that, right? And that's true. He commented, and I know exactly what he's talking about. Years ago, when you started a YouTube channel, whether you were a content creator or just a guy who wants to comment on another channel, they only allowed you a single unique ID that had to be contiguous. It couldn't have any spaces or special characters, right? And over the years, they expanded that to allow you to change your display name. So if you recall, like my channel, BEER-N-BBQ by Larry, if you look at the header of the URL, if you pick the right link, it'll just be one long string, BEER-N, BB Larry, all one big word. But now years ago, after I'd done it, they allowed me to change the display name. So now you see the spaces, and there's this BEER-Larry, whatever, _by_Larry, and that's what he did too. So he used the exact same trick to use a different account under a different channel name and just rename it. So good for him. I hope he comes back. Honestly, I didn't watch a lot of his content. I was aware of the guy. I watched a few of his videos when people would comment about stuff on his channel, and I would go watch it. But I got somewhere between 200 and 300 subscriptions of my own that I watch or try to watch it as it is, and I don't get to hardly any of it. So a lot of it just goes right by my eyes as I'm scrolling through stuff to watch. Some of it just never gets watched. Let's see. Greta Thunberg was worried about CO. Yeah, that guy. He's got her name on there. That's hysterical, man. Yeah, that's not the real Greta. I don't think it is, because the picture on her icon on my comment section there, it's obviously of her at the UN making that stupid "How dare you" look, and that's pretty funny, man. That's pretty funny. It's hot as hell in Texas. Yeah, it is, man. James, you betcha, man. I'm sure it is. In fact, that's one reason why I'm not moving to Texas. I've been trying to look for a state to move to for a number of years, and Texas was near the top of my list for many years. It's still kind of in the top 5, but the heat is not. I'm more of a dry climate, cooler climate thing. So like high mountains, high desert, that kind of stuff. That's my ideal climate. Not humid Texas, man. I know that there's some drier areas. I mean, in like Austin, I know because I go there from time to time for work. It's a compromise. Austin I can do, but Houston and some other southern areas down there closer to the water, no way, man. Too humid. 1:30 a.m. in Sydney. That's right. I asked you the question earlier, Mathan. Yeah, thanks for getting back to me. Well, that's pretty late to stay up on a. Well, I guess it would. You're 24 hours ahead, so it's actually 1:30 a.m. Monday, I believe, right, for you? In Singapore. Man, I got people from Chile, Singapore, Panama, Uruguay. Holy crap. All right. Well, welcome, y'all. Yeah, I mentioned earlier, right, you probably heard me saying I'm trying to host a morning live stream, so a lot of you in other time zones. Now, in Uruguay and Panama, you're probably in my time zone, is my guess, but for those of you in Singapore and other places, welcome. I got a question. On my fast brewed Helles lager under pressure, did I get a lot of sulfur, and how do I get rid of it? I did not have any sulfur. In fact, that was probably one of my most proudest moments in brewing, because for years I had been brewing lagers because that's how you get into brewing. You start with ales and beer kits because it doesn't require refrigeration and you know all this stuff. It's real simple, right? And I got stuck in that groove for years thinking, oh, lager requires refrigeration. Oh, I don't have the space. Blah, blah, blah. And finally, when I started doing lagers, was that Vienna lager I did a few years ago, and that was outstanding. I mean, that tasted like Sam Adams, but like better. Oh man, it was so good. But it took weeks for it to get done. Then finally got that a couple pressure vessels, right? The Fermentosaurus being the first, and then a Spike, and then the Firmzilla, right? Anyway, so I said, okay, I can start doing light, clear lagers. And I was worried as well about off flavors. All the homebrewing books and guides would say, oh, this is the hardest style of beer to make, the light colored lager, because all the flaws come out. And so because of what advice I read, I avoided it. When I threw all that advice out the door and went ahead and did it anyway because I wanted a challenge, it turned out to be not much of a challenge. It was, man, that was like the best lager, probably one of the best beers I've ever made. In fact, I mean, every time I make that Munichelis last summer, this year, whatever, hopefully again soon, it goes because everyone from family, neighbors, spouses, women, men, everybody love that beer because in here, in the Midwest, in the U.S., for those who are overseas, that's the style of beer that's most popular here in the U.S. is that light lager style, and without the diacetyl like Coors and Miller and some other ones tend to have a bit of in the background. This wasn't that. It was crisp, clear, and delicious. So I didn't have any problems. I don't know if you did. Maybe that's why you're asking. But no, I thought it was awesome. The Craig is the original homebrew channel. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, because he's been doing it since 2006. I've been doing mine since 2012. And James, I don't remember when you started yours now. It was probably not long after mine, maybe. But yeah, he was. I mean, when you two came out in the early 2000s, I kind of laughed at it. Like a bunch of kids putting like cat videos and other nonsense on there, and like the crash videos and the fails and things. I thought this is stupid, right? And it wasn't for several years before I realized the potential of it when I started searching YouTube for how to do something, how to fix, how to make, whatever, and started realizing there was actually a lot of good homemade content there that wasn't just a bunch of stupid cat videos and stuff. So I thought, man, maybe and yeah. So he was there from about the start, right? Me being a latecomer 6 years later, 2012. Yeah. Savannah, Georgia. Hey, Rob. I got friends. I got a good buddy right now who's just in Savannah this week for vacation. He's got pictures all over Facebook of his family at all these different places. So yeah. He's Cool, man. How is Savannah? I want to check it out someday too. I've been through Georgia, but I've never stayed in Georgia except in hotels overnight during my trips to Florida and stuff. So I've been wanting to check out Savannah for years. I just gotta find an excuse to get out there. Let's see here. Yeah, the open platform comment. Yeah, James. Yeah, I'm behind the comments here, guys, a little bit. Let's see here. Let me go up a little higher here. Okay, I got a lot of, somebody's trying. Okay, I'm gonna ban this dude. There's an idiot in here who's just shouting out curse words. Not that I don't mind curse words, but that's all he's writing, line after line after line. So I'm gonna put you in timeout first, bud, and see what happens after that. All right, so yeah, so let me scrolling down a little bit more here. After that, you go up higher now because that guy commenting screwed up my feed here a little bit. Okay, so don't worry about using unlicensed music and follow along with the guidelines. Yeah, just don't use it. Yeah, I just use royalty-free music. I get credit in the video descriptions for that stuff that I do use that require it. And actually, if you do use copyrighted stuff, if it gets caught, it's up to the owner of the copyright to decide whether they want to take down your content or if they want to make money off your content. So they have this nefarious option where they can start taking your money from your ad revenue because you're using their content. And I don't know what percentage it is or whatever, but that's something that they can do as well. Oh, thanks, Jacob. Don't forget to hit the like button on my videos, especially if you like these live streams. It just some people think the like and dislike is an insult to use the dislike on. Really, I mean, no, it's not. I mean, what the YouTube algorithm does when they see the dislikes that you've thumbed down is to show you less of that type of content. Not necessarily my content either, but maybe less of that topic in the title or whatever, right? That's from what I understand. So I don't take it personally when people thumb things down. I mean, personally, I would just skip to the next video and not thumb at anything. But some people are just, for whatever reasons, do. You know, that's fine. I got thick skin. You know, I was raised in Generation X. I'm not a snowflake like a lot of the kids nowadays are. Let's see. Rob Scanlon, new home brewer, and just had your first bottle explode. Opened 4 cents and new foam a lot when pouring. No gushers. Can I fix the rest? Ooh, well, yeah, I had that happen to me, and not because I misjudged the amount of priming sugar. It was because there was an infection in the batch, which can make you think that you put too much priming sugar. So if you're pretty sure you put the priming sugar in right and it's still gushing, it's probably infected. And there's nothing that you can do about it. Probably not much you can do about it being over carbonated now either. If it is, that's a bummer, man. I can't tell you what to do right now because I haven't had that happen to me in years. I never had one explode because of over carbonating. In fact, I have a spreadsheet that I have that helps calculate the exact amount you need to put in to get a certain amount of carbonation per bottle or batch or whatever. So I've never had an over carbonation problem. I had a couple under carbonation problems with some Scotch ales and some other long-term aged high gravity beers, but there was other reasons probably for that. I don't know what you can do. You guys want to throw some advice out there for Rob Scanlon here and asking about what he wants to do about his foaming beer? Because honestly, I think it's a bit late now. Let's see. Good day from Vancouver. Hey, welcome. Keshwan? Yeah? All right. All right. Oh, some people have already offered some advice. All right. Thanks, MJ. Yeah, that's an option. So if your beers are exploding because they're at room temperature, put them in very cold environments. I mean, put them in a very cold refrigerator, because with the gas laws, with pressure and volume and temperature all being proportional to one another, in a fixed volume, if you lower the temperature of the bottle, the pressure also drops, right? So that's good advice. Try try that, man. Just try to make them as cold as possible, so when you open them, they don't foam so much. But if it's an infection, you're not probably going to want to drink it unless you like sour beers, which is, right. Oh man, Barley and Hops had their distilling vids yanked. Okay. Oh yeah. Wow, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, again, that's one of those channels I don't watch much of it, although I do have them tagged or subscribed, I think. But that's another thing is distilling. I've been getting a lot of people wanting to know about my interest in distilling, and I have an interest. I mean, I have equipment that's capable of doing it, or I can even make my own. But I'm not that much of a hard liquor guy. I mean, I like my whiskeys, don't get me wrong, but I like good whiskeys. And I don't know how good of a whiskey I can make because it takes time to age, and it takes time to age them in like wood barrels. And I don't like clear spirits. I don't like moonshine. I don't like. I like a nice aged wood aged whiskey, or even a tequila. But maybe I'll get into it. But if I do it, I can't even show those videos. Oh, I guess I could because there's other guys who do it, but I always worried about getting my stuff banned too because it is still illegal in the U.S. So there's other types of brews I'd like to try my hands on too, which are also illegal in the U.S. And if I did them, I can't share them with you. So yeah. Oh, hey, Garen. So you got the logo mug last week? All right, man. Well, cheers. Actually, I don't have my logo mug out here because it's still in the morning, but I got my red, white, and blue mug to toast to you. Cheers, man. Yeah, so you got the last of my available for sale mugs. I still haven't decided what I'm going to do going forward. Am I going to go through that nightmare of trying to procure new mugs again, which cost a fortune to order and ship and to ship here and then ship out, because there's no drop shipper out there that will do it. Now, to give credit, I do have an option if they're still for it. The company Brewing America, they make the hydrometers and stuff that are out there now, right? They had offered to warehouse and batch order some glassware for me. It's sort of like a way to support my channel, and I am appreciative. I would like to do that. I just haven't had any time to get back to thinking about it. So it's a possibility I might do some more mugs, a little different style, maybe a different way the logo is applied, maybe a different etching on the glass so it's more long lasting, or the type of colors they put on there are hardened and longer lasting than the ones I've currently got. From Portugal, welcome. Good morning, everyone. Let's see. Drinking in the heat. So what kind of beer do I drink in the heat? Well, I drink what I like to call my lawnmower beers, right? So I don't brew the IPAs, and maybe I'll brew a pale ale, but it's rare. But in the summertime, I stick to the more heat refreshing beers. So I do the blonde ales. I love blonde ales. In fact, I might do one here soon with some fruit in it. I might do a raspberry blonde maybe soon, or maybe a raspberry wheat beers. I like wheat beers, not all wheat beers, but a lot. Like let's see, a couple styles I brew that you probably know about that I've got on my channel are the Hefeweizen or the Weiss beers and the wit beers. And of course now I've been getting into the clear lagers, so the Munich Helles I've been brewing. I love that. That's a great summer beer. So those kind of things. That's what I like to do in the heat. Let's see. Let me scroll down past some of the stuff here. Another fella from India. Hey, Varun. I think it is, right? Yeah. Hey, welcome. I think I've heard you comment before. Or maybe in the email. Maybe I don't remember. No, I get a lot of people reaching out to me, so apologize if I can't remember every name everywhere. And it also is complicated because a lot of screen names here don't match the email names I get through email either. So it's hard to align who I'm talking with a lot of the times. Yeah. Well, thanks, Derek. You like the live chats. I kind of like them too. There's a number of reasons, but I guess personally, it's more like it's a video I don't have to spend a week trying to edit after I film it. So I just record it and post it, and I'm done. Right, I just walk away. Let's see. WD. Yeah, Google has cornered the market on public opinion. They are, regardless of what they say, they are censoring people like myself out there, and my opinions on stuff. We don't fit their agenda. The people running the thing have it rigged, and I feel the same way, man. I feel the same way, and it's a shame. I mentioned this on the Friday live stream. I'm not happy with YouTube. In fact, I'm looking at other platforms to move my channel to get, because I don't want to keep supporting and feeding the beast, because they get, I think, 60% or 40% of whatever ad revenue they put on my channel here, and I don't like their politics, and I'm looking to get away from supporting them. Right, so. A lot of my other favorite YouTubers have been banned or have moved up to these other platforms, so I may join them, but I'm not going to get the amount of viewers and subscribers, because those other platforms are not the 600-pound gorilla in the room like YouTube is, unfortunately. So I'm kind of caught in a bind here, but I have been looking at other options. Dominic, hey man, how's it going? From Pennsylvania. Have I ever brewed a Shandy? No, I have not. I'm not a fan of Shandies. Well, I don't like what I call the Arnold Palmer of beers, right? It's like the Arnold Palmer is like a half lemonade, half iced tea drink, right? And beers like half lemonade or whatever. I'm not a fan. My wife gets them. I just let them sit in the fridge. I don't even touch them. But a good Shandy. Now, there is one. There was one. There's a grapefruit rattler from Stig. Actually, I got it down here. Hold on a minute. I have the Stiegl rattlers. I discovered these several years ago in Las Vegas at a bar, and my wife and I loved them. So she drinks these, though. I mean, I may have one once in a long while, but not really a big fan of them in general. But fruit concentrate or real fruit? It depends. I mean, fruit concentrate's simple and easy, and it's been pasteurized already, I think. So you don't have to worry about any kind of infections. I don't know. I've never used concentrate. The real fruit, I don't know. It's a tough call. But this is part of the hobby. Try both, either together or back to back. Maybe split your batch in half. Maybe do one fruit concentrate, one real fruit, and see which one you like better. Right? Just try that. How has electric brewing changed our process and changed my process enthusiasm for brewing? Well, it is an eye-opener, honestly. For most of the past 20 years, I was just doing a propane burner or a stovetop natural gas burner brewing. And when I my first foray into it might have been that sous vide stick I used to make a small batch on my stove. I put like a sous vide device in there to do my mash, and then I used the stove for the boil, and that was really convenient. I was like, wow, And then the grandfather came along, and I didn't have to go make sure my tank was full and not going to run out on me. I've actually had propane tanks run out on me in the middle of a boil, and it's not apparent right away because the stuff is still kind of petering and the tank gets low, so it's still kind of burning, but the intensity's dropped, and then you're like, oh no, my tank is empty, and then you have to stop what you're doing. And I love electric brewing. Now that I've got the Grainfather, now I got the Spike Solo, or the E-Brew in the bag, they called it beforehand. It's nice. The downside is the long cord you need, the cost and hassle of installing a 240-volt circuit into your house. Now, for me, right behind the camera here, I have it right below my circuit breaker, so it's right there. I just put like an 8-inch run down and re-drywalled. It was like a couple day project, off and on, right, to re-drywall it and all that stuff. No big deal. But some of you might have a longer run to install it in. And also here in the U.S. at least, there's standards for 240 volt. but there's different plug styles. So yeah, so now you got to decide which brew device you're going to buy first, and then install the receptacle that matches the plug on that brew device. So that's still the one thing I think is a downer about the electric brewing, but I think it's awesome. And plus, these electric brew systems are programmable, so you can use these PID algorithms and PID controllers to go ahead and help you hit your strike temperatures and everything. It's real convenient. I'm kind of a fan. I must say that I am a fan now. So I'm going to try to do some more electric brews going forward. I still got my old system here behind me. I got some requests that people wanted me to make some more videos on that as well. Still, I got some other ideas that I want to do in this channel this spring or this summer, fall, maybe fall. It's my 20th year of brewing. I've been brewing since the year 2000. So I was going to do a video or maybe a short series, depending on how long the content is, of going back and brewing a batch of beer the way I brewed it when I first started brewing, sort of a nostalgia brew, to show you what it was like 20 years ago without these electric systems, without all these fancy conicals, without all we had back then was just, I mean, the biggest pot I could find was a canning pot for doing boil canning on your stove. And so we had to do like concentrated wort boils where we couldn't even boil like the full volume of wort. We had to use glass carboys, which I still use today, but that's all we pretty much had back then was like buckets and carboys and extract. I started with extract brewing, so I'm going to do an extract batch and walk everyone through that. And just to show you what it was like, for me at least, in the year 2000 to brew my first batch of beer. Okay, so yeah, Rob Axelson's asking me, is this highlighted? Yes, you have highlighted me. Yes, sir, you have. So if you want to highlight my name or highlight anyone's name, if you don't know this process, you use the @ symbol and then their name, and hopefully their name will fill in for you. You just click it as you type, and then it'll highlight it with like for me, it's a red background, orange, red, something like that. And so that person can see it easier in the feed. So now right below, Rob puts @dback360, and I don't see it highlighted, but he should see it highlighted. All right, so my two brew list, my top 5 brews. Let's see. Well, my two brew list, which means beers I have that I'm going to be brewing soon. Is I take that, or beers I want to brew but never got to. There's probably 2 ways I can take that. Right now, on my short list, my goal is to brew a fruit beer, maybe a fruit blonde or a fruit wheat, but also I'm kind of looking at maybe trying a lambic, which is more advanced than just that too. I'm not sure. I like fruit lambics. I just love them things, man. Other than that, other beers, maybe my wit beer again, or maybe I already brewed Hefeweizen already this spring, so and then probably towards the fall I'll probably get back into my brown ales and pale ales again, maybe an IPA. But quite frankly, I've realized something in the past, off and on for the past couple of years, but really in the past few weeks it really kind of hit home. I'm not sure I like IPAs anymore. I'm kind of gotten bored of it, tired of it. I mean, back in the 90s when an IPA came out, it was a hoppier, more bitter, aromatic beer, but it was marginally so. Now, companies and people try to like throw every hop they can find into their batches, and they're just overly bitter and not good, unbalanced. I mean, you can't even taste the grains in them. I mean, and they're not refreshing to me nowadays. So maybe my tastes have changed as well over the years, but I find myself swinging the pendulum back to the other side. I want a balanced beer. I want to taste the malt. I want to taste the hops, and I want to taste all together in harmony. And in my opinion, IPAs has gone way overboard to the extreme. So I'm not sure if I'll do it in IPA again soon, because my tastes have apparently changed. Let's see. So I got a question. Just brewed my Hefeweizen. That's good. Yeah, I got a little bit left in the keg from when I brewed it back in that last live stream in March. I brewed 10 gallons of it, and believe it or not, I still got the keg is still pouring. So I might have one of those today actually. Brewed the Bell's Oberon clone. That is a good beer, man. For those who are not in the Midwest, or maybe Bell's has expanded to coast by now, but for years it was more of a regional beer. And their Oberon is a seasonal beer. It's like it's a wheat beer, I believe, with their own house yeast. It's got kind of a slight citrus flavor to it. It's refreshing for warm weather. It used to be called Solson back in the 90s when I first started drinking it, and they had to change the name to Oberon due to some trademark or copyright infringement or court case or something. Have an awesome channel. Thanks, man. Appreciate it, COT. I've not drank any Oberon this year. Actually, I think I missed the boat. I saw them in the store once back in March. I think it was that early. And I thought, I'll get one next time I come back to the store, and then they were all gone. There still might be some around, but because of the stupid lockdown we're still dealing with here in Illinois, I just haven't had any interest in wanting to go to the store. Honestly, man, I hate wearing masks. I mean, they fog up my glasses. I'm not wearing my glasses now, but when I go out, I wear glasses so I can see things better. And the fog, it's just, and then the hot breath, and it's just, I hate wearing this mask. So I don't go out. I don't shop unless I absolutely have to. My wife will do most of that for me, but she doesn't know a thing about beer. So I just deal with what I can get my hands on. San Diego is wonderful, Rob. I got my brother-in-law lives there. In fact, we were just there last summer hanging out with him for a week. I love San Diego, man. Nice, dry, mid-70s year-round. My brother-in-law's got a lime, an orange, and a lemon tree in his backyard. I mean, I can't do that here in the Midwest, man. I can't even barely get a garden in and out before the weather turns, right? Let's see here. In Germany. Welcome from Germany, Alex. Let's see here. Keep Austin weird is their tagline. Yeah, Austin is weird, man. I mean, it's a mixture of people, right? They got a lot of homeless there. The downtown is kind of whack. The outlying areas are great. I mean, they got a lot of great food and music, and they call themselves the music capital of the U.S. or the world. I have no idea. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna show this. There's another guy. He's making some uncool comments. Hold on, guys. I gotta either do something with this guy. I'm gonna put him in timeout. Hide. Okay, hold on, guys. I'm just trying to find out what to do here. Hide. Actually, you know what? I am going to, because this guy's spamming me. I'm going to put him in timeout too. There we go. My list just got shorter. All right, let me go back to the top here again, because whenever people do this, it kind of screws up my feed. Okay, so anyway, going on. Rob, trying to get the Pilsner Urquell cracked. Oh yeah, that's a good beer. I drank that for years. I haven't had one in a while. It's got a bit of a sulfur character to it too, I think, a little bit, but not great. It's uses a lot of Saz hops that I know. I mean, because that stands out. But I don't have a clone for that. But maybe someday. Kolsch yeast. I have not used Kolsch yeast. Getting really low mash efficiency. How to increase it? Is there a problem if crushing the grain really fine so long as the husk is intact? Yeah, it's still a problem, I think, because so it's a I don't know why you're getting low mash efficiency. I'm not seeing what you're doing, but you got to be careful about crushing grain so fine, because it will gum up and have a problem trying to drain it later. You might get a stuck mash, stuck sparge, or whatever, right? And if you grind it too fine, the husks get ground up. Now, I don't know how you crush grain fine and keep the husks intact. I think you get powdered husks too, and those husks would add astringency to your beer, but also those husks are there as like a filter for all the wort and water to filter to the grains when you're doing your mash lautering step, right? So you don't want that. In fact, I coarse them I crush them as coarse as possible. The fact where you can crush a grain into just a few pieces and some smaller chunks, and the husks are still intact, and I get the best results from that. Low mash efficiency could be from it could be from it could be from a number of things. I mean, it's not being Vorloped. Is it recirculated? Is it just sit there? Is the mash water too high? Are you killing the enzymes in there so they can't do the conversion? Are you using the proportion of proportion of grains without any diastatic power? I added a feature to my latest version of my brewing spreadsheet where you can, here, let's see if I have that here, about diastatic power. Let's see, let me turn this on here. So there was a tab here, a feature I added on the grains tab. Here, let me scroll over so you guys can see this. Oh, dang it. So right up here, there's a diastatic power thing here now. So you can calculate your expected diastatic power based upon your grains. So maybe your grains don't have enough to do the conversion all the way. There could be so many reasons why, and without looking into it, it's kind of hard to tell what your problem is right now. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back. ILL from Diana. Hey, ILL-INI. Go Illini. That's my alma mater. That's a college I went to back in the early 90s. Let's see. All right, let me see what else we got here. Washington State, Adam, L, welcome. Southern California, Steve H, welcome. I had a great 4th. I had an okay 4th. It wasn't great. We didn't have anywhere to go, nothing to do. No parties, no festivals, no fireworks. It was terrible, honestly. Probably the worst 4th of July I can ever remember having. Now, I cross my fingers because there could be... Actually, no. I had one other 4th of July that was worse than this one. About 10 to 15 years ago, I had some food poisoning on the 4th of July. Oh no, that was Valentine's Day. That's a whole other holiday. The 4th of July, one year I had my appendix. I had appendicitis, right, and it was so bad. But by the time they realized that I had it, that it was July 3rd. They rushed me to the ER and operated on me July 3rd. And I was in the hospital over that weekend, the 4th and 5th probably, right? And that was the worst 4th of July I ever had, sitting in a hospital bed, eating hospital food in pain, with my bowels all messed up, because that's what happens when you get appendicitis and the surgery. Anyway, don't want to get it into detail. Anyway, worst time ever. So this was the second worst, I would have to say, in hindsight. Larg, you started my layer garden fermentation yesterday from Singapore. All right. 30 degrees Celsius. So we want to do the conversion tonight, but basically room temperature to slightly cool. So depends on the strain of yeast that you use. You should probably look at the package to see what it said for its optimal range, but generally anywhere between like the low 60s to low 70 degree Fahrenheit range. So you can do that conversion maybe in the background while I talk here, but that'd be fine. Have I ever brewed an Irish red ale? An Irish red ale? No, okay, going back to the question earlier, my 2 brew list, that's on my 2 brew list, maybe this fall. I was going to do it this past spring for St. Patrick's Day, never got around to it. So that's on my list to do this fall, winter, or spring. Let's see. So a question about the foaming bottles that you can burp them and reseal. Now you got to be careful, right? Yeah, you can burp them, but all you're burping is the headspace pressure at the top of the bottle. All that pressure is still in solution, inside the solution. So if you even pop the top, yeah, you'll vent a little bit, but if you recap it, it's going to build right back up again. And it's like the analogy are those people who don't have a balanced draft system at home, and they think they have to pull the check valve on their kegs to lower the pressure so they can get a pour. Now, you don't need to do that. That's just a workaround. There's a better fix for that, right? But that's the same analogy, is that you're just reducing the pressure, but it'll build right back up again as that stuff comes out of solution and fills the headspace and comes back to equilibrium again. And so I don't think that would help. I mean, that's a lot of work for very little, if any, gain. But if you're desperate, try it on a few and see, I guess. Okay, Glass Boy. Okay, a question from Adam L. Glass Carboy, for dry hopping, do you add hot pellets straight in or use a bag of some sort? No, I just throw the pellets straight in nowadays. I mean, when I first started brewing, I was buying hot bags at 50 cents plus tax or more, whatever. And it just didn't want to deal with any of that. I mean, because I dry hop in the same vessel that I ferment in, so I just throw the hops in, let it finish dry hopping, let it go through the diacetyl rest period, and by that time, most of it had fallen out to the bottom anyway, and I siphon off the top, right? Or if they're floating around in there, okay, but I don't bother with bags anymore. I just think they're extraneous, superfluous, whatever. They're just not necessary. Yeah, but because then you got to fish them out of the carboy, and if you're lucky, you can get them out with a hook and you pull them out upside down. It's just to me, it's not necessary. Do I take any special oxygen denial precautions when kegging the layer garden? I do that with every beer. Now, if the beers are going to be consumed, so if I'm making a keg of beer for a party that's going to be served in a week, I don't much care too much. But if it's a beer I'm going to be drinking for a month or two, I always do the same thing. I try to purge the kegs with some CO2. No, I've seen people fill them with like Star Sand solution and then push it out, and it's completely CO2 filled, right? But you also, what I discovered from doing that, you still got some amount of sanitizer floating in that bottom of that thing, which gets into your beer, and it can affect which could impact the flavor if it is enough. And it happened to me once and never happened again. So I don't do that. I just go ahead and pump it full of CO2, pull the check valve a number of times, and yeah, it's not perfect, but it's better than not. So you have a gas mixture of air and CO2 in there. It's better than just all air. And then I rack to the keg. Now I do it with a closed transfer method, but I've done plenty of open transfers right into the keg. As long as that blanket of CO2 is kind of floating around in there, even if you take off the lid of your keg and you see like the little cloud of gas in there, it's good enough, I think. But yeah, you can be real anal about it if you want to. It just makes it last longer because the air makes the beer go stale sooner, right? And that's why I said if you're going to drink it really fast, it may not be as much of a concern to you. Let's see what else we got here. Indiana, hey man, Naptown, Indy no place. Yeah, that's one of the states I might be moving to in the near future. Texas, I mentioned earlier, was on my list. So is Indiana. My first choice is Eastern Tennessee, but that's a hard sell with the wife. I'm still working it though. Hey, Iroquois County, man, how's it going, fellow Illinois bastard? How's it going? I think you're from down in Iroquois County, right? If I remember right, that's why you're got your name there as Iroquois. Let's see. Yeah, some states allow distilling, James. That's true. Like Missouri does, I think I read recently, but it's still against federal law. So you don't want them coming for you. It's like kind of like the pot laws. Like the state of Illinois made weed legal this year, right? But it's still It's still illegal federally. So if you get busted by the feds with weed or distilling or anything like that, if I got caught with that stuff, I would lose my job, because my job is a company that has contracts with the federal government, and there's contracts when you sign up and as an employee that you will follow these laws and they will let you go. So I mean, it's not worth losing my job over, right? I mean, I don't like those things that much to take that chance. Anyway, I have an engineering background, Fabian. Yes, I do. Civil engineering. Well, yes and no. I actually do have a civil engineering background, because I was in civil engineering in college for about a year and a half, and I worked for the state Department of Transportation during that time as a college intern doing road projects, and I was in the Army. I was in the Corps of Engineers, and we built. Well, it's funny. We built bridges, but I also blew them up too, because I was a combat engineer first with demolitions, C4, dynamite, det cord, all that kind of stuff, mines and all that stuff, and then I got into construction and in the Army, and I learned how to operate all the cranes, the dozers, the graders, the backhoes, all those things back then too. So I was really into it back in those days. But ultimately, after hate to say this, but ultimately after having worked in the Army in the civil engineering realm and in college, working for the state of Illinois for a summer was enough to scare me the hell away from wanting to do that for a job, for a career. Hell no. So I got the hell out of it and moved on to my own type of engineering, which was a combination of mechanical, electrical, legal, and kind of made my own major. That's what the strength of the University of Illinois at the time, and still do. They changed the name of the college there, but it was the general engineering program, where you can tailor your own curriculum as long as you get approval from the advisors or the faculty. So that's what I did. I tailored my own curriculum, but I worked as a mechanical engineer in aerospace right out of college, to give you an idea of what I did for a while. Carl, yeah, had a good 4th. Thank you. You too, man. Hope you did too. What temperature do you cold crash a beer and for how long? Was cold crashing needed? Well, I mentioned on Friday's stream, I don't actually do a separate cold crashing step. For years, I never had the ability to do so. I never had a spare fridge and the ability to do such a thing. So what I did then, and do today still, because it still works for me, is that I'll ferment it out and let it go through the diacetyl rest. And then when everything's settled out after a couple of weeks or more, I rack it to the keg and put the keg on gas and in the fridge at 36 degrees, which is what my kegerator is set to. And it'll cold crash over the week that it takes to carbonate. So I carbonate and I cold crash over a period of a week. And the downside is that my first pour of beer is a little cloudy, or pretty cloudy, depending on how much is in there. All right. But then from that point on, it's great. So how long? I don't know. I do it for up to a week or longer, because it sits in the keg beyond that point as well, beyond the week, and it continues to clear up over time. Which is a downside for certain styles, like my Hefeweizens and the wit beers. You want that yeast in suspension, so that's actually a negative. I would never cold crash those, but unfortunately, since they're in the fridge, the kegerator, they do cold crash over time, and over a period of weeks, my hazy, cloudy wheat beers start dropping clear, and as well as the flavor changes too. So I actually have to go in there and shake my keg a little bit to stir up those kegs to get the yeast back in the suspension, so I can get a nice, enjoyable wit beer. Let's see. Oh yeah. Ryan's mentioning about the barrel-aged stout in the heat. No, I don't do barrel-aged stout in the heat. No, in fact, I got some good beers, some good stouts. Parabola from, I think, Stone Brewing. I got a couple bottles of theirs downstairs in my basements, just in the dark, waiting for the fall to come back around again before I drink them. When I brewed, okay, thanks for the video. When I brewed Oktoberfest in 9 days under pressure, any plans of doing this? Yeah, Oktoberfest. In fact, that's very good. I actually had forgotten I did that already. Oktoberfest is technically in September, so if I were to get one ready for September, I'd have to brew it in early August like I did last year. It's already July, so I got to start making a decision here. Am I going to make this fruit beer or am I making an Oktoberfest? I'll probably still do the fruit beer and then an Oktoberfest, probably back to back. Let's see. All right, let me see what else we got here. Have I ever brewed a farmhouse ale? Not intentionally. I say that because a farmhouse ale it's like wild yeast and bacteria fermenting the beer. I try my hardest to not allow that to happen because I want clean, tasty beer. But yeah, I've had farmhouse ales before. Not a big fan. I used to be into those Belgian, French yeast fermented style beers when I first started exploring beers many years ago. And it was interesting. It was different, but I found myself over time when I go to the liquor store, I don't end up buying them anymore. So I must have changed my opinion on that over time, which is okay. Am I ready for my raspberry blonde? Oh yeah, I've heard of that. I've never bought anything from them, but I'll take a look at that. I actually wanted to do it from scratch. I wanted to just go to the grocery store and buy, 5 pounds of frozen raspberries and just use them. Actually, I was going to try to do raspberry, apple, and cherry combined. Try to mimic one of my favorite beer styles, which is no longer available. It was called Serendipity by New Glarus up in Wisconsin. They quit making that a year or two ago, and for years we would drive to Wisconsin just to get stock up on those beers, and they're gone. So, being a home brewer, hey, let's make it myself, right? But thanks for the tip. I might have to keep that in mind. A dry yeast for a Hefeweizen. I actually recently used one. I think back in March. Oh no! I actually used the original Weihenstephan yeast. I don't know one off the top of my head, man. All I can say is just look at the different dry yeast manufacturers' descriptions and see what they recommend them for, and just pick one and try it. Honestly, but this is part of the hobby, right? This is why we do it. And Russ, I think, weren't you one of the ones that commented about missing Friday's live stream? So I'm glad you can make it today. That's good to know, right? Let's see. Gravity. Okay. Single bus electric brewing. Every time I use it, my electric bill goes through the roof. Yeah. That's one of the downsides about electricity. Depending on what it costs per kilowatt or whatever, that might be more expensive. Even in this state of Illinois, they keep trying to jack up prices on power and gas, but but gas is so cheap today, so darn cheap today compared to what it was when I was younger. But the transportation cost and having to get your tanks refilled, I mean, it's a trade-off. I mean, it just depends. I haven't done the math yet on electric versus gas brewing. But for the difference of whatever it may be, I still like the electric because of the convenience factor. Let's see. All right. Creed's wrecking the Hefeweizen recipe I put out. Good job, man. Good. Excellent. You're welcome. I'm glad you like it. Some comments there. Yeah, I'm behind here. What about, question here. What about, oh, darn it. I gotta start picking up the pace here, guys. I'm catching behind here. I'm getting behind. What about Spike's Associated Brewery strawberry rhubarb, Larry? I don't know about Spike's Associated Brewery. I don't know about that, but I know New Glarus has a strawberry rhubarb beer as well, and I drank that too. I'm not a fan of rhubarb though. I mean, there's a local winery, Cooper's Hawk, that's up the street from us. They have a rhubarb wine. I've had strawberry rhubarb beers. They're okay, but I don't go out seeking them. They're not really my thing. Beer Burner says, "Oh yeah, you got into brewing lagers because you're burned out on IPAs." Well, hey, me too, man. I mean, who knows? I might swing back the IPAs in the future, but right now it's not on my wish list of things to drink every day. Let's see. Carl brewed a lambic that's been aging for 10 months. About the record on the raspberries. Oh, see, yeah, well, man, hey, cool, man. If you have experience with it, send me an email or reach out to me somewhere, man, on my webpage or whatever. and let me know. Hey, Brian's here. Hey, sorry for the late welcome, Brian. Everyone else has found you here apparently already, but thanks for joining. Hope things are going well with you, man. I haven't talked to you in a while. Things kind of fell apart when this COVID thing hit. We were supposed to do a weekend party of brewing video collaborations at his place back in March when this COVID nonsense all hit, and we have to set a new date for that because it got delayed. So it's okay though. I mean, spring is pretty busy for me anyway, but I should have some time now that it's summer finally. So I'm still waiting for that invite though. Let's see. What else we got here? A collaboration. Yeah, well, Hops and Gnarly, I just mentioned that. Yeah, Brian and I were going to do a couple of different collaborations. We just can't get around to doing it, apparently. Brewing mead, Garen? Yes, I have. I brewed mead for a few years earlier in this decade. And it turns out I was the only one drinking them. I mean, I would make them and I'd age them for a year and I'd bottle them and and I'd age them longer and I'd offer to the wife. She doesn't like them. I bring them to parties. People would try them and go, "Oh, this is good," And I mean, there's nothing wrong with the mead. I mean, as far as I like meads to a degree. I thought they were good, but people aren't. They don't know what mead is. No one ever's really had mead before. So the first time they try it, they go, "I thought this was a beer or a white wine," and they're like, "No, it's mead. It's honey." It doesn't matter. That first impression, they just like, okay, I don't want it now. So I got tired of having. In fact, I think I got one bottle left from like 5 years ago, still in my fridge downstairs. I've just been waiting to see how long it can go before, just to see what happens to it over time, right? But I'd like to get back into it again. But honestly, there's other things to brew. I'm going to get back into doing some winemaking the end of the summer again. Maybe some cider making is my goal. I noticed that raw 2-row shows 0 diastatic power on the spreadsheet. Yeah, that's because they don't offer one on their maltster sheets. You'll have to guess at that because only some of the maltsters even share that information on their maltster sheets. So lacking that information, you'll have to input your own. So rather than giving a generic value, which is just made up, you can probably go there and you can edit the spreadsheet and add your own estimate in as to what it should be. So you might be able to do that by looking at some other 2-row varieties and just copying their values. But I chose not to do that because if I start putting imaginary data in that spreadsheet for everyone to use and everyone takes it for granted, then I get all the grief about why it was wrong and why something's wrong later. It's like, no. So all the information on my spreadsheet is accurate to the maltsters sheets themselves, and if there's no value there, it's because they didn't share one, and I'd rather not share one than make up one, right? But you can edit that spreadsheet, go in there and put a value in, and go with it from one of the other makers or brands that do share. It'll probably be close enough, but I didn't want to lie and make up numbers that I don't have, and then over time not know which number on the spreadsheet is made up and which ones are real. I just didn't want to get into that game. Let's see. Champaign-Urbana. Yeah, that's right, man. That's where I went to school. That's right. Champaign, baby. Let's see. Comment from Matt Couto. Learned a lot from my channel. He's from Toronto. No matter which platform I choose, YouTube otherwise will follow you there as well. Yeah, that's true. Thank you for stating that. But the reality is, from looking at all the other YouTube channels that have been booted off of YouTube, that have moved to other platforms, they would have 1 million subscribers, 200,000 subscribers, 50,000 subscribers, and they're lucky to get 10% of that audience on that other platform. So. And I'm approaching 70,000 soon, so I might get 7,000 people over, which is great. It's fun, but I'm not getting everybody over there, and that's the downer about it. Let's see, New Jersey, Minnesota. Hey man, thanks, James. Norway, welcome. How's Chad doing? Chad and I, we just spent the week together up in the Wisconsin Dells. We rented 2 vacation villas that actually were adjoining, so they shared one of those doors in between them. So we spent 4 or 5 days up there and hung out, chilled, relaxed, and had a great time. He's doing fine. He's been kind of busy. He's doing a lot of home projects. He's got a roof that's damaged. He's got water drainage issues. He's remodeled his basement. He's got his hands full. He's pouring concrete. He's not got any free time to come hang out, and I don't blame him. I mean, he's got a lot of work to do. Would I get a nitro draft system for an oatmeal stout? I would like to, but really, my kegerator's got one line going in for gas as it is. I don't want to drill any more holes for another tank. And yeah, I mean, I got multiple taps, so I could get the nitro faucet for my faucets, but it's the gas problem. Do I put the tank in the kegerator so I don't have to mess around with drilling a new hole? Those kind of things. I mean, would I like it? Sure. Will I do it? Probably not. Come to Tennessee, beer burner. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Eastern Tennessee. Yeah, it's a good choice. Thanks, Russ. That's what. Yeah, I mean, I had an office in Knoxville for the past 15 years or so that I would fly down to and work at and stay at the hotel, of course, down there. And I got friends down there because of my job down there. So I've been meaning to head down there, man. I like the atmosphere. I like it's laid back. Knoxville's just the right size town where you got a lot of food and dining options and things to do. There's nature out there in the mountains, right? The only downside about it is the allergies for my wife and kids. It's a pretty bad area for allergies from what we experienced going down there on a family vacation. And the humidity is brutal in the summertime, as you know, right? That's one of the drawbacks. But there's so many positives to Tennessee. I still might do it anyway. Dennis, thanks for my service. Oh, yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, much appreciated. Yeah, that was so long ago now. It feels like it was almost just like a dream. In fact, I was clearing out my attic overhead about a month ago, trying to make room for more crap, right? And I found a pair of combat boots I've had since I joined the Army in 1990 or 89 or 90. And, hold on a minute. I closed the door before the light came in and caused a glare here. But yeah, I found an original pair of combat boots I've had all these years up there, and I was tempted to keep them for nostalgia, but they've been up in the attic for 30 years, or almost 30 years, I guess. If I didn't wear them since I last wore them, and they just threw them out. But yeah. Amazing background, I guess. You talk about the engineering background, Fabian? Yeah. Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks for the compliment about the level of detail. Yeah, I guess you can call me detail oriented for sure. Yeah, that's kind of necessary in what I do. Well, everyone's job, you got to pay attention to detail. You can't just go, well, I guess you can fake certain careers, marketing, advertising. There's a lot of jobs and careers out there which are kind of a joke by comparison. I don't mean to be insulting. I'm just saying, relatively speaking, it doesn't require as much attention to detail as things that are based upon science and physics, math, those kind of things. Let's see. Hey, Paul from Texas, welcome. Making breakfast, Adam? Is that Adam L says, I'm on the iPad in his kitchen, and his daughter walks in and says, is that Tony Stark? Do I look like Tony Stark? It's funny because I don't think I do, but my wife says I look a little bit like Robert Downey Jr., I guess, at times. And she's had a crush on him since the 80s when she was, a teenager, so I guess maybe that's why she married me, because I look like him. I don't know if I like. Anyway, yeah, about 5 years ago, I was looking for a fast and easy Halloween costume for Halloween, and I said, hey, I'll just make up a Tony Stark costume. And so I got my goatee trimmed up and put like a little blue light that was under my shirt that kind of showed through. And it worked great. And so, yeah, and ever since then, I've been hearing more and more of that because of the whole Avengers thing. That's why people talk about it more than ever now. I mean, no one said that back in the 80s and 90s during his other movie roles and careers. It was only since he started doing the Iron Man thing was a thing. So that's funny. I'm still making wine. Naptown, that's a good point. I made a batch of wine last fall. If you remember that video about the Washington Merlot kit that I did. I made a wine kit last year or 2 years ago, I think it was. Jesus. Well, I made it 2 years ago. I did a video last year about it when it was all done. And that was okay. But I'm more of a fan of like doing things from scratch. I like getting my hands in the grapes and making the grapes and doing the whole maceration process and fermenting on the skins, which makes the wine taste so much better. And I started doing it back in 2013 through 16. I made increasing every year. I got better and better at the wines, And 2017 was the year I did this whole DIY 10-gallon brew system thing. I did a whole bunch of videos on that, and that ate up all my time that I didn't make any wine that year. And then the following year, I couldn't find any grapes, and then I ended up buying a kit. And then, so yes, I want to get back into like actual winemaking again. That's one of my goals this summer because my stash is dwindling. My wife and I like our wine, so it gets expensive buying it. At least the kind of wine that we like to buy, it adds up real fast. So to have to lay in a supply of homemade wine that costs $3 or $5 a bottle rather than $20 to $30, it's going to save me a lot of money over time. So I need to get back on that. Thanks for the advice, Sassy, about the raspberry Belgian ale. Yeah, this is good stuff. I still got to write up the recipe yet for it, so I got to do a little bit of soul searching as to how I want to approach the fruit aspect of it. There's so many ways to do it. Which one will I do? I got to determine that yet. My favorite style of British ale, brown, Northern England or Northern English brown ale, even Southern English brown ales, just brown ales in general, really. I love some mild bitters. I like those. Of course, the old-fashioned IPAs and pale ales, right, with some Fuggles hops and more traditional hops. I like those too. I like British ales in general. I mean, I do. Let's see. Do I run into JB Prickster in Wisconsin? No. In fact, actually, that was the most normal man, I tell you guys, I mean, I don't know which state you're in and what your states are like right now, but we've been under this lockdown order since like since right before St. Patrick's Day in like mid-March, and we're still required to wear masks. We can't congregate very much. Certain places are still closed. We still can't go to the movie theaters, and we can't go to the gyms and stuff yet without like precautions and other nonsense. I mean, I just feel like it's just, I'm getting burned out, man, honestly, just being here. And going to Wisconsin for 4 days was like, oh, man, I felt normal. I mean, it was so normal there that when I came back to Illinois and I went to my doctor's appointment the next morning, I forgot to bring my mask with me because I was so used to feeling normal again. And I was like, and that's when it hit me like a ton of bricks that I'm back in this shitty state again, honestly. But no, I did not run into them, thank God. Is the Kamado Joe gone now that I have the SNS Kamado? No, the Kamado Joe is still on my patio along with my Broiler King. And what else do I got out there? Anyway. I keep all my grills, for one, because they all serve a different purpose, right? So my Broiler King is for taking places. So when I do like those competitions in Crown Point that I've been doing every year now for a couple of years, that hooks up to my trailer hitch and then off it goes with me. I can't do that with the bigger Kamado Joe or the SNS. They're just too big, heavy, and fragile. And then the Kamado Joe is still here because it's still 24 inches. It's still a pretty big ass grill and cooker. And there's times where I throw parties or nice big meals for like holidays, and having one cooker is not really. I mean, I've done many multi-course meal on one cooker, but when you're trying to feed a family of 10 or 12 or 15 people for those holidays, space gets really tight when you're trying to cook all that food. So having an extra grill nearby is good. So I think last Christmas or Thanksgiving, I used the Kamado Joe to cook something while I cooked something else in the SNS. So I still have it. It's basically mothballed though. That thing's a danger. I mean, it's a true danger. I mean, that hinges. I mean, that lid will come down. That big, giant, heavy lid has almost crushed my fingers a number of times. It's bent my utensils as I'm trying to turn things. As it came crushing down, you have to always hold the damn thing up with one hand while you're. It's just a crappy grill. It just really is. I mean, it's a shame because the thing was expensive. But I still have it for those extended kind of meals and things. Just gotta be careful with it. All right. Oh, Mike from UK has been listening while driving back from the airport. Yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm glad you enjoy it. And the website too. Yeah, well, yeah, my website is. I had different plans for that website when I first did it. It was supposed to be like a blog site and a bunch of other things when I first did it, but really now I've written a few articles there about stuff and pictures and things that are not on YouTube, because sometimes it's just better to just do it in writing than making a video. For one, it's a little faster. I can edit and update the content, so as I may be wrong in the video, well, I can't go back and make the video correct, right? So I have to. So there's advantages to writing articles, and I started doing that, and I kind of don't do that as much anymore, and it's basically just reposting my YouTube content there. But you know, I got filters there where you can pick on like all beer recipes, and it will show you sort all by beer recipes, or you can pick on food recipes and we'll short, so you can get I think the searching and filtering is better on the website than it is on YouTube, honestly. Am I a seasonal beer drinker? Yes, I'm seasonal in that I change my preferences from season to season. Yeah, you're right. What is your beer for each season? Well, I mentioned my summer beers earlier. But it just depends on my mood. But generally, as a rule of thumb, warmer weather, lighter, refreshing beers, cold weather, dark, heavy, and malty, maybe even, right? And then between the cool and warm and cool, like the spring and falls, I might do some IPAs, pale ales, amber ales, brown ales, those kind of things, which are sort of in between the two, in my opinion. Oh, Brian. All right, but got a guy from Turkey calling in here. Nice. Well, welcome. Brian at Short Circuit Brewers, for those who don't know his first name. He made 5 pounds of breakfast sausage today. So that was another collaboration we were going to do back in March at his house. Chad and I were going to drive out there. We were going to shoot video Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and put out a bunch of different videos, a brew day video. We were going to do a live chat all together like this. We were going to do in a cooking video, and that cooking video was some biscuits and gravy that never came to pass. And we decided to, at least for now, go ahead and do some kind of collaboration on it anyway, remotely. So that's what he's talking about here. So he made some breakfast sausage, and he's going to make his half of the video. Then I'm going to do my part of the video. And we're going to have sort of a hybrid video to share with you guys, hopefully soon. Okay, let me stop the grapes. Yeah. All right, let me see here. Thanks for all the comments about the raspberries, guys, because that's definitely what I want to do soon. Do I participate in any brew fests to win awards? No, I don't. And honestly, I went to my first one a couple months ago, or a few months ago in March. It was the Drunk Monk Challenge by the Urban Knaves of Grain here in the Chicago west suburbs or southwest suburbs here, right? And I didn't participate. I just showed up to check it out because I've never been to any of these kind of events. I just wanted to see what it was about, and I never had any interest in winning awards. I mean, I know how my beer is. Everyone who drinks it knows how my beer is. It's cool to brag about, but honestly, do I want to go through bottling beer? I mean, I went to kegging for a reason. I don't like bottling. I just don't like bottling beers. So So anyway, will I? Maybe. Have I? No. I got a question about my KJ again. Have I ever been? Oh, have I seen the Blazes cast aluminum egg? Yeah, I have. It's certainly an oddity, isn't it? I've never used one. I've never even touched one. I've only seen them online and other people's videos. And my question, which has yet to be answered, is how well does it perform relative to a ceramic cooker, right? Because the thermal, I think not thermal, the heat transfer coefficient of aluminum, right? Aluminum is a very conductive material, both electrically and heat-wise. I mean, there's a reason why a lot of your pans and cookware are made out of aluminum, because they heat up fast, right? Now, they can also cool very fast. You turn off the heat and they cool real quick. So, which is why a lot of people like myself like cast iron for cooking, because it's more resistant to heating up, but once it's hot, it stays hot, right? So that's why all my cookware has got the aluminum cladding, which has got, so it's like stainless steel with aluminum in the middle. So you kind of get like the quick heating, but more equal heating, and kind of lasts a little bit longer. But ultimately, I like cast iron. So going back to the aluminum thing, the ceramic is the opposite. Ceramic is highly resistant to heating up, but it's also, when it heats up, it's also really resistant to cooling down. So for long cooks, overnights, long brisket, pork shoulders, ribs, those kind of things, I would think ceramic would do circles around a cast aluminum egg. But the cast aluminum egg is not as fragile as a ceramic egg. I would like to get my hands on one to do my own testing to come to that conclusion, but I highly doubt this place is going to send me one if I were to even reach out to them, because I mean, those eggs are expensive. I mean, aluminum is not cheap. So, but I would like to try one. I am curious. Of course I am. I just speculate how much, if it's even better or worse, and how much either way, right? What's my process for dry hopping? Do I pour pellets vertically? Oh yeah, I had that question earlier already. I think I answered it like just a little while ago. I just throw them right in the fermenter. Okay, all right, Brian, you take it easy. We'll set a date for this madness is over. Is it going to be over? I mean, this state says the state of Illinois, if you're listening still, Brian, or anyone who wants to listen to my rant again, is that there's these different phases that the state's going to, and they won't go to the last phase, which is not even complete freedom, but they won't go to the last phase until a vaccine is available, which is nonsense. I mean, think about it, guys. The common cold has been around for thousands of years. We've had coronaviruses come and go for decades. I mean, SARS, MERS, these bird flus, all these kind of things that have come through, most of which are coronaviruses themselves. No viruses, or no viruses, no vaccines yet for any of them. So what makes you think this is going to be a sudden thing here too now, right? So who knows when that will be, because the state of Illinois has already declared that they won't let us be free again until there's a vaccine, which in my opinion may not ever come. So I'm looking to move out of this damn state, honestly. Oh, Dudes Who Brew. Hey, man, you guys are down in Florida, right? I'm on the shop doing their live stream now. No pressure. like I need any more pressure, right? But yeah, well, thanks for showing me. I hope your business is doing well. You guys have only been open for a month or so, right? Yeah, cool. Johnny Robinson, love the channel. Have a great day. You too, bud. Thanks for the live chat. Yeah, I'll see you, Lawrence. See you around. What time is it now, guys? Oh, crap. It's been a half hour longer than I planned on. I was only going to do for an hour originally. So let me get down to this list here and log off here, because it's getting a little bit warm out here. I'm starting to sweat. I got my fan blowing over here, but it's not quite enough. You guys are welcome about the live chat. Free time I got no free time. My job is eating up. What free time I would have had, my new job is eating up. So I just don't have much time for anything right now, including brewing beer, which is an irritation, of course. I'm in my garage. I ferment in my basement. It's year-round, perfect fermentation temperatures. I don't even have a temperature control down there. See you guys. So y'all take it easy. I'm going to log off here. I'm actually really thirsty. I might actually open this can of Rattler here, like I mentioned earlier. All right, so thanks for hanging out for an hour and 35 minutes. I guess you guys like this stuff. I can do this more often when I can break away and block out the time like this. So you all take care, and see you all next time, yeah? All right, ciao. Let me figure out how to log this thing off here now. There it goes. See ya.